Aloha and welcome to Hawai'i Goes Fishing. Now there's so much to learn about fishing that it seems the lessons never stop. In today's episode, we'll add just a little bit more to that growing body of knowledge. We get an insider's look at how a boat is built by a master craftsman. Then we join Ed Watamora for a fishing trip on his new Makau 23. What started off as a vague idea turned into Hawaii's largest ocean-related festival in just 5 years. And Clay Ching shares what he's still discovering about fly fishing. Dave Lancaster finds out that a triple split ring is not a gymnastic move on tackle tips. And he checks out a huge spread on real recipes. And Mark Kimura cautions us about possible trouble behind us on boating basics. No need to take notes in this class. Just sit back and enjoy the show. Fishermen are often in search of the perfect fishing boat. Nice ride in rough water, stable at anchor, lots of room, easy to maintain. With that in mind, boat designer Gary Brookins took up the challenge. He says what he came up with comes pretty close to the perfect mix.
After building and repairing boats here in the islands for about 25 years, I had a lot of incentive and encouragement from the local fishing community to design and build a new fishing boat for Hawaii waters. So the Makau actually started from a clean sheet of paper, develop a modified deep V bottom that would have a high carrying capability, would have the giddy up and go of the best planing hulls, and the stability of bottom fishing boats all in one package.
The building process starts with a polished mold. The smooth mirror-like surface of the mold will ultimately create the finished surface of the boat's hull, so great care is taken to remove every last bit of dust. Boats are built from the outside in. The first to go on is the finishing layer, the gel coat. Everyone is especially careful at this point. One slip and the boat's finish is ruined. As the gel coat cures, panels of unidirectional fiberglass cloth and mat are prepared. The pieces are cut with the aid of templates. Each piece of cloth has been engineered for a specific part of the boat. Before the gel coat fully cures, more fiberglass is laminated into place. This process is much slower than using a chop gun, in which some boat builders shoot a mix of resin and fibers into a mold. And this hand-built process is much more expensive, but Gary says the payoff is a much more durable and rigid hull. What you won't find much of on the Makau is wood.
Yeah, one of the things that we found prevalent throughout the boating community is nobody wants any wood in their boats, because they don't want to deal with potential dry rot or termites. So we went to great length to minimize the wood in the Makau. The only wood that we really have is just the coring and the transom, and also at the bulkhead, the main bulkhead at the driver's station. But our stringers, our frames, our decking, everything's all foam core or solid glass.
Once a deck module is completed, it's laminated into the hull. This whole assembly is literally glued into place with structural epoxy. It's like building a model boat, except this weighs a few thousand pounds. The fit is very precise, and the epoxy bonds the two parts into a single solid structure. Dozens of clamps are installed to firmly hold everything together until the epoxy cures. In a couple of days, the new hull will be ready to come out of the mold. To remove the hull, water is injected through a spigot that was built into the mold. The boat literally floats itself free.
All right, she floats. Test one, day one.
Chain hoists are used to raise the hull from the mold. A great deal of care has to be taken to make sure nothing scratches the glossy finish that is finally seeing the light of day. The Makau now goes through final assembly. Here's where Gary's experience with fixing boats pays off.
One of the things we can highlight about the Makau today is the way we did the design for installation and made it easy. But it's not just easy for us to install, it's easy for the customer to work on it. As you can see, if you look throughout the boat, you'll see the wiring harnesses all the way down the side here on the starboard rail.
My last boat was designed quite poorly, and I had to almost be a contortionist in order to fix certain parts of it. And I'd come out with nicks and scrapes and cuts all over my arm because I had to be reaching back and trying to get to things that should be right there, accessible. And that's one of the beauties of the design of this boat, is everything is super accessible.
So once all the basic systems are installed in the boat all the way around both sides, we pre-fit the deck cap to the boat. You can see the deck cap coming into the boat now. All the components that hook up to the infrastructure that's installed in the boat are already installed on the deck cap. And once the deck is screwed down, it's plug and play time. I got to duck out for a minute, excuse me.
Even with the deck cap in place, there's plenty of room to get at the wiring harness in the future. No more scraped knuckles. And finally, unless you're planning to do a lot of paddling, you'll want an engine or two. On an earlier build, Gary installed a Volvo IO. On Ed Watamura's, there's a pair of Suzuki 4-strokes. Okay, so how does it run?
Well, I like its ride, number one. I mean, it just is incredible how it tracks and how it performs, especially in rough water. And you don't get that pounding, and the bow flare really helps keep the dryness. Again, the work area is just superb. It's got a huge cockpit area, and was able to put a pretty large fish box for those times when we were lucky enough to catch more than one ahi.
Funny thing is, getting a new boat wasn't Ed's idea.
My wife, she saw me working on my old boat like a lot. I was always out there fixing this and fixing that, and she actually was the one that suggested that I buy a new boat. So I was pretty blown away when she said that. You know, just, why don't you buy a new boat? I said, oh, okay, I'll go with that.
Coming up next on Hawai'i Goes Fishing, Ed Watamura takes his new Makau fishing.